Hello, dear students. Good morning and welcome back to your chapter number 15, Biodiversity and Its Conservation. So, today we are going to learn about Red Data Book. Okay, so what is Red Data Book? So, according to World Conservation Union, that is WCV, okay, which was earlier known to be as International Union of Conservation, okay, of Nature and Natural Resources, that is IUCN. So the biodiversity of the world is continuously decreasing due to various reasons. So if this situation continues, then there will be a danger or extent of important species of living beings from the earth. So keeping this view in mind, IUCN has published a red data book in the year 1963. Okay, so this book contains catalogs of taxes or species facing risk of extinction. Okay, so this book is revised periodically by union. Clear? Now, red data book is the name given to the book dealing that threatened species of the plant and animals of any region. According to red data book list in 2000, out of 18,000 species, 11,096 species so are on the threatened list worldwide. Can you imagine? 2000 to 18,000 species are in a extinct list or threatened list. So on the global level, that is IUCN published red data book in two volumes. So many countries have prepared their own red data books. Botanical Survey of the India, that is BSI, okay, Botanical Service of India, published a book, that is Threatened Plant of India, in which the India endangered plants were desired or described. So BSI again published the Indian Plants Red Data Book in the year 1984. So in which 125 endangered and angiosperm species were reported. The main purpose of publication of red data book is the following. So what are the main purpose? Is to identify the document of the species with high risk of extinction, to provide awareness of the degree of threatened of the biodiversity, to provide global index of decline biodiversity, to prepare conservation priorities and help in conservation actions, to provide information about international agreements like conservation of biological diversity and conservation of international traits of in endangered species of wild fauna as well as flora. So in short, we can say the conservation of international traits in endangered species of wild fauna and flora is CITES, that is equals to cities. Clear? Now, what are the types of endangered species? So on the basis of biological potential, decline in number of individual. So the IUCN base define following categories of the species which are under threated or their survival. So first is extinct and second is endangered. Okay, so there is lots of difference between extinct and endangered. So extinct is known as those species which are not represented at present at the time by their any living representative is said to be extinct, means we fully lost. Now in other words, the species that are no longer to exist in the world. For example, we having dogo, it is the name of a species which we lost, that is known as extinct species. Or when we were talking about endangered, so endangered means a species are the taxa is danger, okay, means taxa that is refers to as the danger of extinction with the number of population below the critical limits, and those survival value is unlikely if the causal factors continue operating. So, the fifth volume of Red Data book says that out of the total 3 lakh species of the plant in the world, over 20,000 where is the category of either endangered or vulnerable or threatened with extinction. So, far as the endangered fauna is concerned, more than 1250 species are on the verge of the extinction before one end of the century. Clear? So for example, we having Indian rhinoceros, right? Aesthetic lion, great Indian bustard, Nilgiri longers, snow leopards, hawklock gibbon, and walled ash. So these are the lost or endangered species in our world. So now let us talk about that is extinct, endangered, now vulnerable. Okay, so what is this word? So vulnerable taxa are those who believe to move into the endangered category in the near future in the casual factors that continue operating. Okay, so in India 143 species of animal and 67 species of plants fall under the category. Like example, we having golden langur, leopard cat, black bug. So in this way. Okay, now next we having is rare. As you all know the meaning of rare, so those taxa whose population are not at present endangered or vulnerable but are at risk, but represent by a small world population, that is called as rare. So species belong to the rare group are usually localized within the restricted geographical area or habitat or tinily scattered over a more extinction range. So rare species have a population of less than 20,000 individual. Some species are naturally rare and have never occurred in a great number. Clear? For example, we having snow loris and Indian desert cat or wild yak. Clear? Now next we having threatened. What is threatened? The species which are endangered or vulnerable or rare category may be marked as the threatened. Yes, if there are not sufficient information to say which of these three categories are appropriate. Clear? Yes. Now next we having the category of out of danger. So taxa formerly included in one of the above category, but which is now considered relatively to secure because effective conservation measures have been taken or the previous threat to their survival has been removed. Clear? Now in the same way we having species, on the same way we having endangered organisms also. So let us know about the endangered organisms. So today we found that species of the organism which were present on the earth early and either extincted or in the edge of the extinction in future. So only in India about 200 species of animal have been extincted and about 800 species faces the risk of extinction. Out of them 250 species of wildlife are ready to extinction. So can you imagine? So example, we having chimpanzees, leopard, lion, cheetah, tiger, polar bear, elephant, mountain gorilla, rhino, birds. So in this way, this is due to uncountable hunting, uncountable uses in food and medicines to get honey, silk, skin, etc. So similarly, a large number of plant species are also existed and remain species facing a risk of extinction. So we having like Balanophore, Stenon alban. Yes, so these are the different names of the species, plant species, which we are losing nowadays. Okay, so now this is all about the extinction, how we are losing. Okay, so and we have created the RDB, that is red data book. Now let us talk about the conservation of biodiversity. So India is one of the richest among the 12 mega centers of the world. So the country in biological diversity. So the rich biodiversity is due to the variety of climate condition privileging on different ecological habitats, that is ranging from tropical, subtropical, temperature, alpine to the desert. Okay, so these varied conditions or herbal plethora or the organisms which form an important natural wealth that is responsible for the socio-economic development of the life in our country. Clear? So what are the reasons of conservation of biodiversity? Okay, so let us talk about the reasons. So to conserve natural wealth and its biological richness, Okay, to check the depletion of ozone layer, acid rain, and increased temperature of the earth, to fulfill our daily needs like food, fiber, fuel, to protect human beings, to fulfill our nutritional need, to get herbal medicines and supplementary food, to maintain environmental balance, right? So these are the reasons. Now we having some methods of to conservation of biodiversity. So like conservation of genetic diversity, conservation of specific diversity, conservation of ecosystems diversity, right? So in various efforts taken for biodiversity conservation can further be grouped under two heads, that is in situ conservation or ex situ conservation. Okay, so let us talk about in situ conservation. In situ conservation preserve and protect the natural habitats of the plant species upon which they dependent on their establishment and reproduction. So preserve the core areas of indigenous plants, animal life, and also the presence of future involving diversity and integrity of the biotic community like flora and fauna within natural ecosystem. So this is all about the in situ conservation. Now let us talk about the ex situ conservation. So species that has been identified as threatened or particularly endangered or anyhow important for biodiversity can be preserved in suitable location. So outside their natural habitats, like the methods are field gene banks, like we can create the genes banks, right? Or we can say in the other words like seed banks, we can also keep the seeds in a seed banks. So in vitro gene banks, in this way we having the national gene bank at New Delhi also. Now yes, so in this way we can create different types of banks to protect our particular species, which is ex situ as well as the in situ conservation. Okay, yes, and the last we having carrier banks also, right? So in this way we can take the help of banks for the conservation of species. Now let us talk about the national parks. So what is national parks? As we all know that national park are those large area where living beings as well as plants and animals are conserved under human management. In other words, the area which is strictly reserved for betterment of the wildlife and where activities such as the forestry, grazing or cultivation and not permitted by but educationally, culturally and recreationally activities are allowed for the tourist, also called as a national parks. So our government has made forest and conservation as a national policies and formed a law on conservation and forest cutting and also on hunting of wild animals. So describe the government has established the protected forest at specific place to preserve the wild animal, birds, plant species, etc. So these areas are declared as the national park. Clear? Now at present time there are 85 national park are present in India. So there will be a proposal to increase it up to the 148. So the area of national park is a very wide and it's divided into following three zones, that is outermost buffer zone, second area is known as the curious area where forestry operations are permitted, and the third zone is known as sanctum sanctorum. Here all the human activities are strictly prohibited. So can you now you can see here the area of national park. Now object of establishment of the national park. So to provide proper conservation of wildlife by which rare species of plants and animals are kept preserved. Now, to conserve population of main animal and plant, the government has made wildlife law under which hunting wild animal is legally a crime, right? And also the protection of naturally beautiful like loving sight and natural and old items, so that wild animals, birds, etc., such arrangement should be made so that we can enjoy it form as a closely, right? And to preserve genetically diversify found in animal and plant. Clear? Now some important national park of India. So national park are set up for the preservation flora and fauna and landscape and historically object of an area. Some important as well as known as the national park of the India. So I'll tell you the name. So now Raji Park. Okay, so it is situated in Uttaranchal, in formerly in UP, right? Now in this way you can see here Gir National Park, Kana National Park, now Cobard National Park, Bandipur, you know. So in this way you can see here, here we having number of national parks which is situated in our, yes, all over the world. Okay, now let us talk about the sanctuaries. What is sanctuaries? So sanctuaries are that special conserved area in which protection is given only to fauna and operating such as the harvesting of timber, collection of minor forest product and private ownership, that is rights are permitted so long so that do not interference with well-being of animal. So at the present there are 447 sanctuaries in India according to 1999. So the state government may be by notifying declare any area to be sanctuaries if it is considered that such area is adequate ecological, that is floral, faunal and such that areas is adequate. Okay, or we can say geomorphological, natural or zoological significance. So in this way, okay, so we having some important sanctuaries of India like Ghana Bird Sanctuary, yes, now Priad Wildlife Sanctuary, Animal Wildlife Sanctuary, you can see here, है ना, which is located in the Coimbatore in the Tamil Nadu, in the area it is described here, you can see. So in this way we having numbers of sanctuary which is present in our all over the country. Clear? Yes. Now you can take your help, you can take help of your book, okay, by to reading these sanctuaries and different national parks. Okay, I hope you understood. So in next class we will continue the next portion. Okay, thank you.